For the majority of the month of December, I decided to move into New York City. One of my really good friends asked me to come and move in with her, and I just couldn't say no to the offer. So I went to New York, and let me tell you, it was quite the trip. So if you guys may or may not know, I grew up in the suburbs of Jersey, which is really not too far from the city, and I grew up going to the city all the time. So I mean, if I've been going to the city for so long, what's really the difference about moving into the city? Or I honestly might just be really dramatic. Well, I will tell you that there is a huge difference. Just being able to wake up and just walk over to the subway station, go wherever you need to, not carrying a big backpack, luggage, whatever it is liberating. So if you are currently on the fence of moving into the city, or you're just looking to visit, here are my 10 takeaways of what life is like living in New York City. The first point is that there is always something going on. Whether or not you have something scheduled or not, you'll always find something to do. Things will always pop up. Sometimes you'll meet random people on the streets where they'll invite you to things, and that's totally normal. There have actually been a couple of times where I've actually bumped into someone I knew on the street, and then I ended up hanging out with them for the rest of the day. Maybe it's because I grew up around the area, but I don't know, is this normal? The second point is that bad food does not exist. Maybe it's because I'm not a picky eater and I'll eat almost everything and anything besides durian. I haven't come across a restaurant or a food stand or whatever it is that was bad. I'm not the biggest foodie, but if there are good recommendations, I will go. There has been a ton of restaurants where my friends have recommended me to go to, and everything was just super good. The third point, and before you fight me on this one, is that people are so incredibly friendly. I'm sure that you've heard the stereotype that everyone in New York is an asshole, everyone's so mean, but honestly, I've only come across really nice and amazing people. And this is not just during my 2.5 to 3 week stay in the city, but I've just come across the nicest freaking people. I mean, granted, there will be mean people everywhere you go. The thing about the city is that most people just kind of mind their own business. Everyone just has their earphones in. If you just notice on the subway, no one really pays attention to. They're usually on their phone, but maybe this is why RBF is a thing. The fourth point is that drinking on a Monday can be normal and it is okay. So don't feel guilty if you're partying on a Monday night, because you'll always find people casually drinking at bars, maybe even going out, because bars are still open on Mondays. They probably won't be as packed as they normally are on the weekends, but there's usually people out all the time. I remember going to a bar in Brooklyn and it was pretty packed on a Monday, and I was like, wait, is it Friday? Why are there so many people out? And I remember there's one girl, she was just like really trashed on the floor, and I was like, Brooklyn. Fifth point is that the culture is to date. No, dating is not the culture. The culture really is to just date. There is an abundance of people in the city, so I mean, why not? It even came to a point where I downloaded a dating app. And I don't download dating apps. I don't like using dating apps, but I'm like, you know what? F it, I'm in the city, why not? But granted that you're not so keen on dating apps, I mean, I'm sure that you'll come across instances where maybe you're going out for dinner with your friends, or you're going to the bar with your friends and you just bump into someone that you might find attractive or cute or had a good conversation with, and voila, you'll find yourself having dinner with him or her the next day. And actually, the one thing I realized is that a lot of people in the city are in open relationships. This is actually something I didn't come across prior to living here, but it kind of surprised me how many people are in open relationships. Okay, number 6 is that the city makes street photography so fun. Photography is a huge part of my life, And for the longest time, I had such a fear of shooting street. Because the one other time I shot street, I just felt very intimidated by myself and the looks of the people who are shooting. Even to the point where a lot of people were just shying their faces away from me. And I'm like, okay, I'm not gonna do this again. I feel so uncomfortable doing this. But shooting in the street in the city is just so different. It's so fun. And there's just so many different characters and people around that you'll just kind of get yourself into it. It's definitely a different muscle that I've had to explore with photography, but I have definitely got a lot more comfortable with it. A ton of my friends from San Francisco actually came and visited the first weekend I was there, and a lot of them shoot landscapes and street, and without them, I don't think I would have been as comfortable as I was. When I first started, you should have seen me on the first day. I wish I had recordings with me, but I was literally just like standing behind them or on the corner of the street. I even came to a point where I apologized to the girl because I was like, I'm so sorry, I just took photos of you. And then my friends were like, why are you apologizing? Yeah, you live and you learn. But what I took out from shooting street in New York City is that everybody has a different style. I realized that either I like shooting by myself with my headphones in, so it just eliminates all the white noise, or I do enjoy shooting in groups. I know that can be a little bit more intimidating, and people that you're taking photos of might get intimidated that there are like 5 cameras in front of them, but you just gotta be discreet with it. Takeaway number 7 is that I think we could all agree with this, but living in the city is expensive. I mean, aside from living expenses, buying food every day, doing activities, it just adds up. New York City obviously isn't a budget-friendly travel city, but there are things that you can get for cheap. I mean, if you really like pizza and you're looking to eat pizza all the time, go for it. But if you want to try out the nicer restaurants and do as many activities as you can, then I would take that into account. Swiping your credit card or tapping your credit card gets really addicting and very habitual. But if you want to experience the fullness of the city, don't budget yourself and just save up money. Takeaway number 8 is that weird people aren't actually weird. And what I mean by this is that sometimes you'll find people wearing Halloween costumes in the middle of the year and you're kind of like, what? But you'll just walk away as if you haven't really seen anything. Maybe they're going to a play or something, or maybe they just like dressing up like it's only a Tuesday. Takeaway number 9 is that recharging is so important. Now, whatever way, shape, or form your way is to recharge, especially with all the hustle and bustle in the city, recharging is so important. I mean, unless you can take all of the craziness, go for it, do you. 5 years ago, that was me. I mean, now that I think about it, I think I was able to go all out and use all of my energy in the city because I knew that I can come back home and just rest up. But if I lived in Manhattan, then I would definitely want my own place just so that I could start and end my day just purely by myself and kind of go out and meet up with people or do any activities whenever I want. Or maybe this is just called growing up and my preferences have changed. Or, I mean, maybe this is also why I was in Brooklyn for almost half the time. Brooklyn is a place where I haven't really explored besides living here, but if you are more of an introvert or you need a break from all the hustle and bustle, I highly recommend looking into Brooklyn. I mean, and plus there's a lot more space there and you'll come across a lot of amazing restaurants, coffee shops, pizzerias. There's a ton of vegan pizzerias in Brooklyn. To all you vegan or lactose intolerant people, Brooklyn's where it's at. Leading me to my next and final point is that if you have the time to explore Brooklyn, now, you've probably gone to the Brooklyn Bridge or Brooklyn Bridge Park, but there was just so much to do in Brooklyn. My favorite area was Williamsburg, and you know, I haven't really explored Dumbo, but I guess that's for next time. So guys, these are my 10 takeaways on what it was like living in New York City for the past almost month. There's always something to learn in the city. There's always something going on, whether or not you're going to a bar with a random person you met on the street, to exploring more of your living preferences and your habits. There is just so much that the city has to offer. And in my opinion, if you know yourself already and you're not entirely open to living in the city, but you're just there to visit, I would recommend visiting the city for at least a week to a minimum if you can. Thankfully, work is now full remote, so I mean, take advantage of it while you can. But overall, I just want to say thank you guys so much for your unending support and for supporting me on my journey so far. And obviously, if you haven't done so already, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe to my channel for more videos like this. And always remember, safe and happy travels. I'll see you guys in the next